Let's go.
All right,
Questions.
to the left, Chip.
Kevin, I know you're going to Coach Tiller's memorial tomorrow. Could you talk about him and the influence he had?
Yeah, it says a lot too. That Arnett, I was talking to her a week ago, has tried to make it, which is typical of their family, as football friendly as it can be. With really a viewing reception tonight, and then the funeral tomorrow in the middle of the week, with coaches and players that they'll be in attendance. But I think it's, I've said for the last couple of weeks, but besides my dad, there's no other man that's probably had that much, has had that much influence on my life since knowing him, from 18 years old on up, and going through a young man's life, trying to figure it out in college and playing, and him being a defensive coordinator, and then him being the offensive coordinator at Washington State. He and Mike Price hired me, moved me to offense, and then had enough trust in me to hire me for my first full-time job at Wyoming when he became the head coach there. So, that's a long time. And then got back together with him again at Purdue for 3 more years, and ended up going to the Rose Bowl and being the all-time winningest coach there. And it's just a huge influence on my life and a lot of other people's lives. And as I said, a couple of weeks ago, I'm a better person because of Joe Tiller, who gave me opportunities that basically to believe in me enough to play me, as a walk-on, and that took some guts. Then to hire me as a graduate assistant on the other side of the country, and then to hire me as a full-time coach for this first full-time job. So, I'm forever indebted.
To the left, Cease, and then Gabe.
Kevin, have you been to the Swamp? And if not, I know a lot of your assistants have. What maybe they said about playing there?
No, I've been there. I haven't been there I'm coached there. So been there a number of times, and actually visited Coach Spurrier when he was there. And some state playoff games there as an assistant recruiting, but never in a situation like this. I understand, 25th anniversary of naming it Swamp, so they'll be fired up. I'm sure Coach Spurrier will be there to fire them up too. Have a couple great things to say. But it's an exciting deal. Most of our players have never been there. A lot of our fans haven't either. So a great opportunity. I don't think they've played a night game there in a while, so I was surprised to see that. But it's this league on the road is the way this league is. There's passion in every place you go, and they're all every fan base is really passionate about their football team. And I think it's one of the things that makes this league a little bit different. There's not a whole lot of places you go, and I'm not going to name places like I used to and get in trouble, but in some other leagues. But there's not a whole lot of places you can go in this league where it's not a hostile environment when you're on the road, and it'll be good for us. I think our guys have kind of handled it. Dallas is a little bit different because of the makeup. But Dallas, AT&T is a loud place, and so this will be our second coastal trip. Not really coastal in Gainesville, but you know what I mean. Playing in Pasadena to start the year, going to Florida this year. It's a great experience for these guys and great experience for our fans.
To the right, Gabe, then down front, Brent.
Kevin, look back on the tape of the Bama game. Where did you see Kellen continue to take steps, and how do you find that balance between allowing him to really be a playmaker but also making sure he, number one, protects the football?
That's a great question. You've got a player who continues to get better, but you also have players around him who are continuing to get better and help him. I think every snap's a learning experience for him, based on what he's seen the last couple weeks. And you've got another group in Florida that's going to throw a lot of different things at him. And Randy Shannon and Chris Rumpf have been around a long time. Well-respected guys that understand defense. So he's gone basically the last 2 weeks of a South Carolina defense that is well coached, which we've seen play out. You've got Alabama, which we all know, and then we got Florida. So he's getting everything thrown at him right now, but so are all the other players on offense, and he's got to understand some things. We've talked during the game, talked at during the week about when to do those types of things and when not to, and some of the things that make him the player that he is he does ad-lib. And with that comes some other stuff, but what you have to do is be able to manage that if you're going to be that kind of player, and understand what's at stake, what points are inside the 30. And it's going to be interesting this week. You look at this Florida team; they're number 1 in the league in red zone offense and red zone defense. So there's a reason for that, and so they're going to present some problems on both sides. So points inside that area obviously have been tough for other people to get, everybody that they've played, and so we need to be aware of that, and offensively and defensively, and continue to get better and understand that ball security is at a premium when you're in there.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left, Travis.
You had mentioned to us once that we would love Tyrell Dotson's story. What did you mean by that?
Well, I'd be more comfortable in letting him talk about that. All right, it's just where he came from, how he grew up, and over time, when he's comfortable talking about that, he can do that.
And then I'll ask about his play.
Well, he played very well. That's probably the best game he's played. Since he's been here. Obviously, from a number standpoint, you see it. But, he wasn't very happy with how he played at Arkansas. He wasn't very happy about how he played South Carolina. But everybody else was a little bit. I think it's kind of indicative of this team right now. That people are talking about. This guy's playing well. This guy's doing okay. I think personally, I know personally, Tyrell was not happy. And neither was his position coach. There was a mutual agreement that he could play better. And, he continues to get better. And now that we've seen, it's like I tell a lot of these guys, now that I've seen that guy in a game like that, we expect that guy every week now. Is that pressure? You bet it is. But that's what playing football at this level is about. And I think he is indicative of a lot of guys on this team that as coaches and internally we've set standards for and continue to push, and they can continue to accept that and continue to get better.
To the left, Travis, then to the right, Ben.
What positives have you continued to see with having Coach Chavis on the sidelines this year?
He's easier for me to talk to, let me put it that way. I don't know. It's statistically we're better, but I think it's deep down inside our discussion was about he wanted to be able to talk to the linebackers and really kind of have a feel for where they are instead of on the phones. And Tyrell's still a young player. Alaka has been through a lot of different things injury-wise. Has been up and down. And then you got Anthony Hines, and Buddy, who are freshmen. So the ability to communicate with them instead of just being on a headset, I think, was really important to him, positionally. I don't know that a lot's changed, from what we're doing from a communication standpoint for him. But I know positionally, he thought it was important because of the possibility of playing that many young guys, just to be able to be down there and be able to talk to them, settle them down, and communicate with them.
To the right, Ben. Then we'll go to the back of the lights, Darrell.
I just got to piggyback off that. How would you assess the play of the linebackers through 6 games?
I think it's been better. I think you've seen Tyrell is a natural will more than he is a Mike. Tyrell is a natural Mike, and so he's a little bit gimped up for the last couple of weeks with that ankle, but he's been feeling better. And we all know what he's capable of. He's shown flashes, but he hadn't been in a consistent game like he was last Saturday. So, Anthony comes in, gives us juice that moves. It gives us the ability to get a lock off the field at will, and or move a lock back to Mike in certain situations and play Anthony. Buddy at Sam is a guy that's a work in progress because he's athletic, because he does a lot of things. And it gives us the opportunity to get those guys on the field. The tough part, I think people, they ask, well, linebacker. No, it's not. You're sometimes you're in space. Sometimes in the game that we're playing right now, across, just in college football, most teams, if you are a 4-down team, are spending most of the time in nickel, just are. All right, so it's really a 2 linebacker situation. You get tight end on the field, couple tight ends on the field, another back. All right, here comes another linebacker. Where does he fit? Is he playing over the tight end? Are you kicking a guy over this way? What are you doing? And so as a young guy, to go in there and play over the tight end, be a Sam linebacker, that's all you can handle. There's the tight end. It's one of the hardest positions based on what you're doing on defense you can play, because unlike the tackle, where some guys are, this guy's eligible. He can actually leave and go catch the ball. You might have to cover him. You might have to get off a block. You might have to do a lot of things. So that takes some time to learn that. And but I think these young guys have done a nice job. I think Chief's done a nice job with them of getting them in a spot where they can handle it, and letting the 2 older guys kind of bounce back and forth and keep the pressure on them so these 2 guys can learn what they're doing.
Go to the very back, Darrell.
Coach, can you talk about Florida's 1-2 punch and Frank's being able to complete the pass? I think he leads the SEC in completion, and then Piron's ability to be able to run and break them.
Well, they've got more than just Piron. They've got a couple good backs with what they do. Like I just said earlier, you don't get to be one of the top red zone teams offensively without having some sort of explosive power running, and then a guy who can throw it too. So they've got a variety of guys that they can do some things with. They get to wildcat and really put pressure on you with some great athletes. A lot of motion, things that get your eyes going different ways, power read, and then some traditional sets with some good running backs that and a good offensive line. They've been able to generate points, particularly, as I said, when they get in the red zone. They've been hard to stop, and so for us it'll be another challenge. Defensively they've been the same. I mean, they've been real stingy on defense. It's gonna take a really, really fine effort out of our team to go there and win, because they've defensively they've been strong. They've scored enough points to win in different fashions. How they've done it, whatever they've done, you got a team with that's used to winning, based on what they've done in the East the last couple years. And I saw a stat the other day that since 1990, that's the best home winning percentage in the country in the Swamp. So it's a whole lot of stuff, but our guys will be ready to play.
Go down front, Brent. To the back, Colin, and then Gabe
How rewarding is it? How much fun is it to see a guy like Cullen Gillespie, who's come along from almost an unknown walk-on to blocking a punt against Alabama?
Yeah, not almost an unknown. He was unknown. He was just out there. He's this guy with long hair. It's before he had long hair, you know. He's got a little Connor McQueen in him now, I think. This guy's come a long ways. Now his hair's hanging all out of his helmet, and he's ever since the Tennessee game last year, he's kind of reaching folk hero status around here too. So, which by the way, Connor got rave reviews last week at Midnight Yell, so it was awesome. But I think Cullen has, you know, he's a guy that has established himself on this football team as a captain, as a special teams captain, which, you know, as a team votes on that, it wasn't even close. And I think that tells you the respect that he has. You know, we had a meeting early in the year where he was able to address the team. I kind of watched that to see what happens, and, you know, the way he plays, the way he does things, the way he's done it over time consistently, special teams wise, has gotten the respect of everybody on this football team. And you know, he's going to give it everything he's got, you know, and he's been about every situation already this year. He's got, you know, he's blocked a punt, he's double teaming people. Heck, he caught a kickoff and returned it. You know, he just loves playing football, and he's also a guy on the sideline that because of how much he's played and what he's done, is able to come over and say, hey, here's what they're doing, here's how they're blocking this. You know, what if we do this? You know, they're double teaming me, so and so's got to go. I mean, he's just done it enough, and it's great to have that on special teams. I think, you know, we've been real fortunate. Sam Miller was the same kind of guy, except Sam wasn't 230 pounds like this guy is, and you know, so he makes his presence known. And you watch video from week to week, and the ultimate compliment for a kickoff cover guy is when you stop getting single blocked, and it's either a double team or some guy running from way across at the other number to try to knock you out. And you know, that's what he gets every week right now, which is the ultimate compliment for a guy on special teams.
Go to the back left, Colin, then Gabe.
Coach, they said on the broadcast of the game on Saturday that Nick Starkel his recovery was going well. He might be able to play.
Who's they?
I think it was Holly Rowe.
Okay.
But
I just wanted to make sure.
They said
it wasn't me, right?
It wasn't you, but she
Was
said
it our
that he might be
doctor?
able to play after the bye week. I was just curious how his recovery is going, if that's something that might be possible.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
To the right, Gabe.
You've mentioned 3 or 4 times now that Landis Durham is the most improved player on the
Yep.
team. Would Damian Ratley be the offensive version of Landis
Yes,
Durham?
glad you brought that up. There's no doubt. You know, I think Damian right now has always had the ability. He's one of the fastest guys on this team. You know, but he's a guy that didn't really have anything coming out of high school. Another one-year junior college guy that, you know, that we've recruited and as part of the player development system. We've had pretty good success with that. With Josh Reynolds was a one-year guy. Darrell Walker was like that. That guys didn't have scholarships coming out of high school that came in and their last year, you know, with the exception of Josh catching 13 his first year, but that last year, you know, Darrell playing towards the end of the year, and then he gets to the Cotton Bowl, and everybody's like, who is he? And what is he? One of the top players in Canadian football right now. Is an MVP. And then, you know, Damian is really similar to that, the fact that he's figured it out. You know, confidence. I go back to, you know, the first deep ball we threw him was against Arizona State. He just ran right by everybody and hit him right in the hand, right in front of us. You know, and ever since then he kind of struggled a little bit. And he's an example of what real confidence and maturity does for you, right? So he's made a couple plays, and over the last 4 games, he's made at least one big play every one of these games, from Arkansas, the post, a couple digs, I mean, and other plays down the field that, that for whatever reason he struggled to make the last couple of years, and now he's got a confidence level. He's talking on the sideline. That's part of growing up. It's part of being a mature guy, and he should be at this point because he's the oldest guy out there, and we need him to continue to be that guy and to continue to make big plays for us, which he's done. And the other thing that you don't see is he has been a completely unselfish player blocking on the perimeter. All these long runs, everything that's happened out there, I mean, he has been a dynamic blocker and then been able to make plays downfield, things he did not do for the last couple of years.
Go to the very back, wrap it up with Darrell.
Coach, how big is this game in terms of you have a bye week next week?
I don't even think about that. I mean, we're thinking about this game. So, we've been relatively healthy this year. All right. So, it's an SEC game. It's on the road. It's Florida. So it's a night game in the swamp. And other than that, we're not thinking about the week after that. That's kind of I think this team's done a nice job of that too. It's what's going on this week, and these guys understand that. What do we need to do to get better from last Saturday, and then what's coming at us this week, and let's try to clean up the mistakes from last Saturday, get a little bit better this week, and then go play.
All right.